We are going live. We are live now. Welcome, everybody. Of course, we have to give folks a moment to join. I am simultaneously on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Go StreamYard. Love tech. And I'm going to be talking about what I learned this week, but specifically sharing a negotiation story for you all. Just waiting for some followers. Okay, good to see you. I'm Claire Wasserman, founder and author of Ladies Get Paid. We are an educational platform, global community, and a book all about helping women earn more and live better. And today I'm going to tell you about a client that I had this week. Her name is Jill. That's what we're going to say. And she was gearing up for a salary negotiation. So I want to walk you through exactly what her situation was, how I helped her, and then what the heck happened because she did get the second offer. So here is the situation. Jill is currently or was in a really toxic work environment. By the way, she gave me permission to share this story, and I'm going to be putting it up in blog form later on. But I wanted to share it as my weekly check-in with you all because I think there's so much to be learned from it. So Jill was in a toxic work situation where she had such a micromanaging boss that she ended up needing to go on leave. She went on medical leave. She originally came to me for career coaching. We discussed ways to make her current work situation livable, dealable, but it was not sustainable. She needed to move on. Here was her issue, though, in looking for work. She had a lot of nonprofit experience. I'm not going to tell you what she does for a living because I need to get permission from her to do that. So I'm not going to be sharing her role. But let's just say it required her to go to school for many years. She's not a doctor. So she had debt, she'd put in a lot of effort, but had a lot of nonprofit experience and really wanted to get into corporate experience and improve some skills that she had. She effectively needed to raise her salary, but was worried that she couldn't find an opportunity that was going to give her a chance. That, having worked for all of these nonprofits, was that really going to pigeonhole her into that kind of role? And she was getting desperate. And here's the thing: if you want to be a strong negotiator, you got to have alternative options. And that can look like savings, that can look like other offers, that can look like a side hustle, your own company, just anything that makes you feel comfortable in walking away. She was kind of a weak candidate in that she was in a toxic work situation that she was desperate to get out of. But she also knew that figuring out the best company culture for her was crucial because she didn't want to repeat the mistake that she had made in saying yes to this job so quickly. So she was both looking to increase her salary, to pivot from nonprofit to for profit, and also trying to find a company with a good culture. When she first started to look for work, there were tons of options out there. She was getting interviews. She was feeling pretty good, like, yeah, you know what? I could take my time. I could be picky. I am a strong negotiator. I am a strong candidate. And then the market changed where all of a sudden the roles that she was looking for were no longer posted, or if they weren't responding to her, or she wasn't, getting to the final interview or getting the offer. Fast forward, she comes to me and says, okay, I got an offer. I got an offer from a company that looks awesome. It's exactly what I want. Here's the problem. The salary, it was at least $20,000 below market. I think $15,000 to $20,000 below market. She still said yes to going through the process. By the way, the person saying add me on Instagram, no, we're not doing that. And if you're wondering why my eyes are going back and forth, that's because I'm on Instagram as well as on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. We're not adding people today. So she has this potential opportunity. So and I'm going to give you some learnings here. She knew that the job was listed for below market. She still went through the process. I think that's fine as long as it is within, I would say, about $15,000 of your bottom line, because chances are you're going to be able to negotiate them up a little bit, because whatever is listed, even if they say it's non-negotiable final offer, everything is always negotiable. You may not be able to get extra money, but you'll get other things, or you'll have an accelerated timetable where they'll then do a review in 6 months and give you more money. So I do think it is worth going through the job process with a company that is a below market salary, as long as it's with $15,000 of your bottom line. Of course, because you know why? The chance that you're going to get the offer, we don't know. And going for it is going to give you practice in the job application process, in interviewing, even in negotiating. You might as well try. So I'm glad that she went through the experience. She gets to the end and they go, okay, awesome. Here's the salary. We'd love for you to start. Her first response was, thank you so much, but I just have to be honest. This is well below market. I'm not sure at this stage I can say yes to you. They immediately gave her $10,000 more, which did two things for her. One, it emboldened her, right? It showed her that whatever is listed publicly is not necessarily the bottom line, but it also kind of pissed her off, understandably, because clearly this is a company that has more money to give, but they're going to make you fight for it, right? And this is what I hate about what I do for a living when I teach people how to negotiate. I wish I didn't have to. I wish that companies would just give the appropriate salary for the appropriate candidate, not the best salary to the best negotiator. It's bullshit. But this is the way capitalism works. So be it. They give her an extra $10,000 right on the spot. She did not accept. Good girl. She said, awesome, great start to the conversation. May I schedule another meeting with you to hammer out all of the details? I have some questions I want to ask before I commit. No problem. She called me up and goes, Claire, let's get on a phone call. Let's do this session. So we went through, what do you say to somebody, to the other side, when you have already quasi-committed, right? She said, this is within range. I'm open to it. Her concern, and this was going to be going from, I think, $135,000 to $150,000. If she went back to them and said, I actually would like $150,000, the fear was that they would feel like the rug was pulled out from under them, potentially, right? That this was like a bit of a bait and switch situation. And that was the last thing she wanted from them. So the question was, how do you present this increase in salary desire without them feeling like, wait a minute, if you wanted 150 the whole time, why didn't you speak up sooner? And this is a legitimate question that she had, right? That was like, I understood the concern here. So first thing I had her do was really confirm the market research. How did she come up with this $150,000? Was this like she heard it from one person? Was it based off of her budget, right? Like, if you really want to root this in the market research, you have to show your market research. So I needed her to really go back and just like, did she talk to real people? Did these people, in their salaries have very similar context to her? Because compensation is contextual, right? So if she was, looking at companies that were massive, paying $150,000, this was a startup. It's going to be different. So I needed her to like triple confirm we have the market research. And not only that, we have the receipts, because I wanted her to bring up the market research she did. Next thing I had her do was really write out ways in which she had saved her company money. Because even though, like, we know that she did a great job in the interview, she got the offer, they want her. That being said, if you were making the case for more money, you should still have some extra evidence in your back pocket that demonstrates how you getting a bump in salary today is a short-term investment in you that will equal long-term savings for the company. Let me say that again. A bump in your salary equals a short-term investment in you for a long-term savings for the company. So she had worked at all these nonprofits before where she had really done a lot of multiple people's roles, had improved processes, made things more efficient, right? So in the ways that you have made your previous company money, it could honestly look like ways you've saved that company money. And remember, time is money, okay? So if you have contributed in any way, shape, or form to saving your company time, talk about it. Okay. Then I wanted her to come up with a list of additional benefits. It's called full compensation. So things besides money, And you can Google that. We're talking, normally it would be like flexibility, but this is a remote first company. So not flexibility in this case, but things like a work from home stipend, right? Like if she was going to be using her own overhead, she needs to get compensated for that. So internet, cell phone, her laptop, supplies, career development, the insurance, the health insurance wasn't great that they were offering her. So a better plan, a wellness plan, right? Stipend for her gym, a 6-month review, with milestones, a signing bonus. Now, by the way, if you're hearing me and you're thinking, Claire, they don't have more salary to give her, so how could they have budget to pay for her work from home stipend? Different budgets, guys, right? Also, if you don't ask, you don't get it. So you have to ask. What I had her do, though, was make a list of all the possible things that would bring her value to her life, and then put it in what I like to call the hierarchy of needs. So you can't ask for all of it, and you don't want to ask for all of it. You should maybe make a list of 3 to 5 benefits that you could ask the company for in order of how much you want them. And again, it's back pocket. So she was going to start with, I want the $150,000, but be ready for them to say no. That's why you have, hey, let's now bring out this benefit. If you can't do 150K, how about this benefit? Can't do that? How about this benefit, right? So I had her make that whole list out. Also, we knew that this company really emphasized the fact that they were giving more equity. So it was like, sorry, we can't do a higher salary, but how about this equity? So I wanted her to prepare a list of questions to ask them to make sure that she really understood the value of the equity, because this company had also recently gone through another round of fundraising, which dilutes the equity. She needed to know about their exit plan. The other thing I wanted her to really lean into was positioning this as her desire to work long-term for them, because they already talked about how, oh, this equity is going to be worth so much. Well, listen, equity is based on how long you work for the company. And oftentimes there's like a 4-year vesting. And so because they were saying to her, hey, this equity is going to be worth a lot, that means they were assuming she was going to work there a long time. Her concern was, if she said yes to this low, below market salary today, and every year she worked there, her salary increase would be based on an incremental merit increase, the gap would compound. She would never get to market rate, ever. And if they expect her to work there for a long time and her equity is going to be worth something, she literally cannot afford to do that. So I then had her detail out an opening pitch. I'm not going to call it an argument, because I don't want people, when you go into a negotiation, you should not feel like it's you against them. You're on the same side, just trying to figure out a creative solution where everybody's getting something. Okay. So this opening pitch, I wanted her to really position it as her seeking advice from them about what she should do. So saying, I'm so thankful, thank you for this opportunity. I'm really excited about this, and something very specific that she was excited about. However, as I've done more market research and citing a few places she did that research so that they know it's not just Glassdoor or, okay, because Glassdoor is not always the correct. If you say Glassdoor to an employer, they may say to you, that's not relevant. So you probably should cite other sources. Here's the market research I did. It's coming at 150K. I'm concerned. Well, I would love to know how you determined that this was the salary, below market, knowing you want the best talent to work here and you're paying below market. I'm curious how you came up with that number. I also would love to hear your guidance on, if I say yes, over time, how can we ever close that gap? I will always be below market. If you were in my position, what would you do? And so instead of making this negotiation feel like an adversarial win-lose, instead, she just totally flipped it on its head and made it into a mentorship session. She humanized her situation. She also flattered the other person that she was negotiating with by saying, I really respect your guidance and I am seeking your advice. That then made that person feel like, oh, gosh, you're right. Like it was very empowering to the other person. And then I had her kind of end her closing pitch with a reminder of her value, ways that she saved her company money, how an increase in salary today is a savings for tomorrow, and underscoring her desire to work there long term. This is not a stepping stone. And then leaving it open ended. I also, by the way, had her map out all the possible ways that the other side could respond to her negotiation, and then in turn, how she might respond. And literally just make a whole list of it, right? Like, worst case scenario, what they might say, realistic scenario, what they might say. Again, she had the list, her hierarchy of needs, right? All those other benefits. So, and their immediate response was, this makes a lot of sense. We'll get back to you. She's like, oh. Apparently, it was a very quick conversation. They were enthusiastic about it. They were not surprised by it. And by the way, I without disclosing what she does for a living, negotiating is absolutely a part of her job role. So I actually wanted her to, in that opening pitch that she made to them, to say, I would not be the person that you want to hire if I did not do this, right? You can always blame me, by the way, when you go into a negotiation. If you have read the Ladies Get Paid book, you've come to any of my webinars or talks, you can say, I have to do that. I'm doing this because Claire told me to, right? Like, it's not bad to just call out the situation. If you're nervous about the negotiation, it's okay. Say, hey, here were some of my hesitation or some nerves I've had about asking you for this thing, but here's why I believe it's a legitimate ask, right? It's not bad to be yourself in a negotiation. Oftentimes we feel like we have to morph into some sort of performance version of ourselves. If you stand by what you say, I think it's a smart tactic to also demonstrate your sort of empathy and compassion for the situation. So anyway, they said to her, we'll let you know tonight or tomorrow morning what the answer is. And she wrote me and said, I'm super excited about this. I feel really good. Next day, she writes me and says, I feel horrible and I regret negotiating. And this is also what I wanted to share with you all. Because they didn't write her back at the time that they said they would, it made her get really nervous, which I understand. I understood. And I said, but listen, Jill, you asked for a lot more money. They needed permission to say yes to you. What they shouldn't have done was say, by this time, we will give you an answer. Like, they should have said approximately, like made it a little bit more abstract so she didn't get like so tied to that time. So I that was sort of a shame, but like, whatever, we're all human. I said, listen, like, you're assuming the worst, which I get. Our brains default to the negative as a way of self-protection. But also think about how you asked for a lot of money. The person didn't have authorization to give it to you. They needed permission. They're also fighting for you. They want to give you a really good offer. And they did. They got back to her, I think, a few hours after they said they would. She didn't get the full amount she wanted. She got close, and she got the 6-month review tied to milestones. So she was thrilled. She was thrilled. But do you see how this whole roller coaster of, should I say anything? Yes. Well, how do I say it? Then also, let's not assume the worst, right? Like the silence, right? The time from when she did the negotiation to when she got the offer, she went on a full ass, like, emotional roller coaster, right? So I hope I know there were some good lessons in what I shared. I know these Friday sessions are supposed to be me sharing what I learned over the week, but I felt like what, quote, Jill learned in her negotiation was definitely worth sharing. By the way, I'm interested in coaching more people. So if you are gearing up for negotiation in any sense of the word, which effectively just means you want something, you need somebody to say yes to you. It could be a raise or promotion. It could be budget for an idea. It could be you want to transfer into another department. You could be fundraising. You could be trying to convince somebody to collaborate with you. Again, you effectively need to be persuasive, right? Message me, DM me, Claire Gets Paid on Instagram, or Ladies Get Paid on Instagram, or, ladiesgetpaid.com. Email us, like, get in touch. Tell me your situation. I may coach you for free, but I'll also want to talk about it. I'm also available for coaching for payment too. Of course, ladies get paid. But point being, the ask, the experience, the process of putting yourself out there, you're going to learn, regardless of if she got a yes on the salary. There was so much growth that happened in making the pitch itself that it is absolutely worth doing, because otherwise you're guaranteed a no. Might as well try. So effectively, it's a win-win. Anyway, it's Friday, or whenever you're watching this, and it's time to enjoy ourselves. Best of luck to you all. Ladiesgetpaid.com. And hopefully we'll see you at another event soon. You can go to ladiesgetpaid.com and there's an events tab. We've got lots of stuff happening. Much love. Now go get paid.